Here is part of the bus timetable from Riverdale to Mott Haven. How many minutes does it take the 10:31 bus from Riverdale to reach Mott Haven? So the 10:31 bus at Riverdale, so we read along from Riverdale, find the 10:31 bus, and it's going all the way to Mott Haven, so all the way to the end. It's going until 11:17. So we need to find the difference between 10:31 and 11:17. Well, the way to do this is to work out how many minutes will it be to the next hour. How many minutes will it be to until 11 o'clock? Well, there are 60 minutes in an hour. So 60 take away 31 gives us 29 minutes until 11 o'clock. And then it's 11:17, so it's another 17 minutes after 11 o'clock. So if we add 29 and 17, we get our answer. It takes 36 minutes. Mr. Evans is at Fordham at 10:30. What is the earliest time he can reach Tremont on the bus? So he's at Fordham at 10:30. So he's missed this 10:28 bus, but the next one is 10:38, so he'll still be able to get on this one. And Tremont is the next stop, so if we read down to Tremont, he gets at Tremont at 10:44. If he gets on the earliest bus that he can, which is this one. How long does the first train from Edinburgh take to travel to Inverness? So we find Edinburgh. We say that this train here doesn't stop at Edinburgh or doesn't start at Edinburgh. So if we go along, the first train leaves Edinburgh at 9:35. Inverness is the last stop, and it gets to Inverness at 13:10. So again, the way I would do this would be to think how many minutes until the next hour, or another 25 minutes will take you to 10 o'clock, because 60 minutes in an hour, take away 35, means another 25 minutes until 10 o'clock. Then it's another 3 hours until 13 o'clock, and then it gets in at 13:10, so it's another 10 minutes after 13 o'clock. So we need to add 25 minutes, 3 hours and 10 minutes, and that gives us our total 3 hours and 35 minutes. Ellen is at Glasgow station at 1:30 p.m. Now they've given us the time in p.m, but the timetable of course is in 24-hour clock, so we add 12 to our hour. She arrives at Glasgow, or she is at Glasgow at 13:30. She wants to travel to Perth. She catches the next train. At what time will she arrive in Perth? So if she's in Glasgow, so here's Glasgow at 13:30. So she's missed the 13:15. So the next one she'll get, because she catches the next train, the next one she'll get after 13:30 is this 13:45. She wants to travel to Perth, which is 2 stops down. What time will she arrive? Well, if we go down 2 stops, she will arrive in Perth at 15:15. How many minutes does the bus take to get from Ingham to Dudley? So there's Ingham, there's a 9:45 bus, and there's Dudley. It gets there at 10:23. So we need to work out the difference in time between 9:45 and 10:23. Well, if it starts at 9:45, there's 15 minutes until 10 o'clock, and then another 23 minutes after 10 o'clock. So if we add those together, we get the total time it takes, which is 38 minutes. Megan is in Carston, so this middle one. She wants to be in Yansley, so the one at the end, before 11:30. What is the time of the latest bus she can take from Carston? So she needs to be in Yansley before 11:30. So this 11:35 and 11:55 won't be the ones for her. She will need the 10:55 or the 11:15. But it asks for the time of the latest bus, so she'll get into Yansley at 11:15. And to do that, what time will the bus leave Carston? If we go up to Carston, it leaves at 10:21. One morning, the 10:35 bus from Winton gets to Carston 3 minutes early. What time does it get to Carston? So it's the 10:35 from Winston. So we find Winston, 10:35. It gets into Carston, so it should get in at 11:01, but it's 3 minutes early, so we need to find the time 3 minutes before 11:01. Well, if we go back 1 minute, it would be, that should say 11 o'clock rather than 10 o'clock. But 1 minute less would be 11 o'clock, and then it's 3 minutes, so 2 minutes before 11 o'clock would be 10:58. Here is part of the morning train timetable from Perth to Midland in Australia. What time is the first train from Maylands that stops at Success Hill? So we find Maylands. This first one, the train doesn't leave. The second one is 7:28, but we need one that stops at Success Hill, and this one doesn't. So we go on to the third one, which does stop at Success Hill, and the first train is the one that leaves at 7:33. Mr. Evans is in Perth and wants to be in Midland by 8 o'clock. What is the time of the latest train he can take from Perth? So I like to work backwards in these questions. He needs to be in Midland by 8 o'clock. And the latest train he can take is the one that arrives just before 8 o'clock. So this train is too late, so this train is the latest one he can take. He's in Perth though, so we need to go up to Perth, which is up to the top, and that train leaves at 7:35. So the time of the train is the time of the train which leaves where he is. So the answer is 7:35 rather than 7:56. How many flights take off between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m? Well, the timetable's in 24 hours, so add 12 to each. We need times between 15 o'clock and 17 o'clock. So we have the 15:25, the 15:40, and the 16:15. So there's 3 flights between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. How much later does the second flight to Paris take off than the first? The first one that takes off to Paris is at 13:35. The second one is at 15:40, and we need to find the difference between these times. And finding the difference between times, there are different ways to do it. The way I like to do it is to count up to the next hour, how many minutes to the next hour, then count on the hours, then count up how many extra minutes you need. So if it's 13:35, that means it will be another 25 minutes until 14 o'clock, then another hour until 15 o'clock, and then it leaves at 15:40, so it will be another 40 minutes. So we have 25 minutes, 1 hour and 40 minutes. Well, if we add those together, we get 1 hour and 65 minutes, but they don't want us to leave our answer like that because we know that 60 minutes is another hour. So really we have 2 hours and 5 minutes. Now the other way to do this would have been to think Paris leaves at 13:35. If you count on 1 hour, that's 14:35. Another hour, so 2 hours is 15:35, and then you just need another 5 minutes until 15:40, so 2 hours and 5 minutes. The flight to Dublin takes 50 minutes. What time does it arrive in Dublin? Well, it leaves at 17:25, so again, think how many to the next hour? Well, 60 minus 25 is 35, so 35 minutes it will be 18 o'clock, but that's 35 minutes and it takes 50 minutes, so it's got another 15 minutes to go after 18 o'clock, so it arrives in Dublin at 18:15. William wants to travel to Paris by train. He needs to arrive in Paris by 5:30 p.m. Circle the latest time that William can leave London. Well, 5:30, add 12 to get to 24-hour clock, that's 17:30. He needs to arrive there by 17:30. So the 17:53 would be too late. He needs to arrive at 17:26, but it says circle the latest time that he can leave London, not the time when he arrives. So to get there by 17:26, he has to leave London at 14:01. Here are the sunrise and sunset times for some days in July. How many minutes earlier is the sunset on the 28th of July, so this one, than on the 7th of July, so this one? So we need to find the difference in time between 20:55 and 21:18, and finding the difference between times, I like to count on from the earlier time to the later one. So another 5 minutes and it will be 21 o'clock, and then another 18 minutes after 21 o'clock, so 5 plus 18 is 23 minutes earlier. These are the radio programs one morning. Josh turns the radio on at 7:25. How many minutes does he have to wait for the weather report? Well, the weather report's at 7:55. 55 minus 25, that's 30 minutes. The holiday program lasts for 40 minutes. At what time does the holiday program finish? So it starts at 8:45, another 15 minutes, and it will be 9 o'clock, but it lasts for 40. So if we've added 15, to add 40, we need to add another 25 minutes. So that will take us to 9:25. Jamie makes a timeline of part of his day. What time does Jamie's morning break start? Well, we've got the start of morning break labelled here. Now we need to work out what each of these lines on his timeline represents. So between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, between every hour, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. So each line is a quarter of an hour, and so a quarter of 16 minutes. Each line is 15 minutes. So his morning break starts at after 10 o'clock, 10:15, 10:30. It starts at 10:45. Lunch lasts for 3/4 of an hour. What time does lunch finish? Well, it starts there. We can see that's 12, 12:15, that's 12:30. If we count on 3/4 of an hour, That's 12:45, 1 o'clock, 1:15. So lunch finishes at 1:15.